We just saw how, over millions of years, we developed instincts, a genetic programming to maximize our chances of survival, which ended up hardwired in our brain. In the same way, but over the period of time of a lifespan, we live our life and accumulate experiences which end up consciously and subconsciously determining our actions, our decisions. Our genetic predisposition will have given us character traits, which will have been further molded through our education and experiences. The mechanism behind it is known as conditioning, being it classical or operant. Without being too technical, the mechanism is as brilliant as it is simple. You see, here it's all about two things: pleasure and displeasure. What gives us pleasure will be repeated. What gives us displeasure will be avoided. I'm using the word displeasure as it's about more than just avoiding pain. Whatever bothers us, things we don't like, or just bore us, will be avoided as well. Now, educators and parents know that these natural likes and dislikes can be manipulated. Through rewards, call it associating a pleasant experience to something we don't like, we can motivate children and adults alike to do things they would be reluctant to do otherwise. And in the same way, through punishment or associating a displeasant experience to something we like, we can discourage children and adults alike to do things they would otherwise naturally be drawn to. And so it all starts. That's how we get our kids to behave, to obey, to conform. We quickly understand the added value of following what's expected from us. Authority figures become a reference point. We learn to sit still, to behave, to listen, to comply, to not interrupt when adults are speaking, etc., etc. However, what's really interesting here in the context of this course is what's happening when we're looking to repeat a pleasant experience. You see, what makes an experience pleasant is the release of dopamine in our brain. Dopamine is a chemical, a neurotransmitter that is involved with a lot of things in our brain. One of them has to do with reward and pleasure. It's really the sex, drugs and rock and roll of chemicals. It's the bad boy, the one you don't want your daughter to go out with. Just to give you an idea, dopamine gets released when we take cocaine, when we have sex, when we gamble. Do I need to go on? Okay. I'm giving bad press to my boy here. It's not only that, it's also involved in attention, for example. But it's just more fun to talk about the bad stuff. But there's more, you see. Not only does dopamine get released whenever we get a pleasant experience, it also gets released before we do such an activity again, whenever that experience is within reach. In other words, it pushes us towards repeating the experience. So get this straight. This is vital to understand marketing, how it works and why it works. Whenever we have a pleasant experience, we will be drawn to repeat that experience. If somehow a product or service can make us have such a pleasant experience and thus release dopamine, next time we'll be around that product or service, we will want more of that. Do you get that? Dopamine is just the magical ingredient, the holy grail for marketeers to reach. And just how they do that, we'll see in the next chapter.